Have you ever felt like you're constantly giving more of yourself to others than you can afford? You try so hard to please everyone around you, but in the end, it only leaves you drained, unfulfilled, and questioning who you even are. If you've been stuck in this cycle, I want you to know that it's time to break free. Today is the day you stop living for everyone else and start living for yourself. In this speech, we'll explore the hidden costs of people-pleasing, how it robs you of your energy and sense of self, and how to reclaim your power by embracing authenticity. This isn't just a pep talk, this is your roadmap to a life of true fulfillment. Stick with me, because what you're about to hear will challenge you, inspire you, and give you the courage to take control of your life. Constantly seeking others' approval may feel rewarding in the moment, but what is it truly costing you? Emotional exhaustion builds up over time, leaving you empty and depleted. You give so much of yourself, you hardly recognize who you are anymore. The constant effort to please others drains your energy, and what you fail to realize is that it's never enough. No matter how much you give, there's always more expected, and the well of your energy keeps running dry. Think about it for a second. Have you ever realized how much of yourself you give away in the name of making others happy? If you're being honest with yourself, you may have fallen into the trap of believing that making others happy will lead to your own happiness. It's a common misconception. People pleasers are often driven by the belief that their worth is defined by how much they do for others. But this is a trap that leaves you feeling unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and empty inside. It's like filling a leaky bucket. The more you pour in, the emptier you feel. You never fill the hole within, because the approval you seek will never satisfy your true needs. When you focus on pleasing others, you lose sight of who you are. Your identity becomes tangled in the expectations of those around you. You stop thinking about what you need, and instead you begin living for everyone else. It's time to ask yourself, who are you when you're not trying to make someone else happy? When you take away the masks you wear to meet others' expectations, what is left? The answer is crucial. It's the real you, and it's time to rediscover that person. At the core of people-pleasing lies the fear of rejection. This fear keeps you from stepping into your power, and instead you let the opinions of others dictate how you live your life. Rejection feels terrifying, yes, but it's only a reflection of others' perceptions, not a measure of your worth. If you allow rejection to control you, you'll always be limited by what others think. You can't grow or move forward when you're constantly worried about being rejected. We spend so much of our lives chasing external approval. We think that if we do things the way others expect, we'll feel validated. But the truth is, it's an endless pursuit. The more you chase, the further away it gets. You can't pour from an empty cup. Validation from others won't fill your soul. And let me tell you something, it never will. It's a hollow pursuit, and no matter how much you get, it will never be enough. How many times have you been celebrated only to find yourself longing for more? The high fades and the void remains. External validation is fleeting. Even when you receive praise or approval, it's only temporary. You get a little boost, but it never lasts. It's like a drug, you crave it more and more, but it doesn't fulfill you. And in the end, you're left wondering, how often have you found yourself celebrating an achievement, only to quickly feel the emptiness creep in again? That feeling of, is that all there is? Living for approval doesn't just leave you unfulfilled, it forces you to shrink into a version of yourself that is constantly seeking outside recognition. You start losing sight of your true self, trying to be whoever others want you to be. You're building your life on shifting sand, never knowing when the next wave of disappointment will come crashing in. The foundation you've built is unstable, and one day it will all come crumbling down if you don't stop seeking validation from others. True fulfillment comes when you stop seeking approval from others and start validating yourself. Self-validation is the foundation of personal power. It's about recognizing your own worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. When you validate yourself, nothing and no one can shake your confidence. You become unshakable because your worth doesn't depend on anyone's opinion but your own. It's time to stop waiting for someone else to tell you you're enough. You need to tell yourself that. Authenticity brings freedom. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you create space to simply be yourself. And let me ask you, what would your life look like if you embraced your true self, without fear of judgment? Imagine the power that comes with living authentically. You'd have the confidence to speak your mind, to pursue your goals, to stand tall in your truth, no matter who's watching. That's where real freedom lies. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It's not selfish, it's necessary for your well-being. Boundaries protect your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. If you don't set boundaries, others will set them for you, and they won't always have your best interests at heart. Don't let others dictate your life. Stand up for yourself and create the space you need to thrive. The first step in breaking free from people-pleasing is awareness. You can't change what you don't see. Start by identifying when and why you are pleasing others, even at the cost of your own happiness. Ask yourself, what are you doing right now to please others? And how does that affect your inner peace? When you recognize the pattern, you can begin to take control. Saying no is one of the most liberating tools in your arsenal. It allows you to take control of your time and protect your emotional space. Think of saying no as a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, but with time, you'll find that it becomes easier and your life will become more aligned with your true needs. Your self-worth comes from within. When you start validating yourself, you begin to build a strong foundation of confidence. Every day, take time to recognize your value. Make a list of things you like about yourself, things you're proud of. This simple habit will help you start recognizing just how much you bring to the table. You are worthy, and it's time to start believing it. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply part of the process of growth and moving toward the right path. If you fear rejection, you'll never reach your full potential. But when you reframe rejection as a stepping stone, something you can learn from, it loses its power. Rejection is just a detour, not a dead end. The more you face rejection, the stronger and more resilient you become. Each rejection teaches you something valuable about yourself. Rejection is like lifting weights. It might be tough at first, but over time it builds your strength. Don't shy away from rejection. Face it head on, learn from it, and use it to grow stronger. Fear of rejection keeps you stagnant, but when you face that fear head on, it becomes fuel for unstoppable action. Don't let fear hold you back. Use it as the spark to propel yourself forward. The more you act in spite of fear, the more unstoppable you become. When you live for yourself, you stop measuring your success by others' standards. You create a life that feels right for you. Think about it. What would it feel like to prioritize your dreams and goals above anyone else's expectations? It would feel like freedom. It would feel like power. It's time to stop living for the approval of others and start living for yourself. Your true self is your most powerful asset. When you stop pretending and start embracing who you really are, you become unstoppable. Think of yourself as a seed that has been waiting for the right conditions to grow. Now is the time to bloom. When you start living authentically, your energy radiates and inspires others to do the same. Authenticity is contagious. The more you live in alignment with your true self, the more the world will respond positively to you. When you stand in your truth, others will be inspired to do the same. The choice to live for yourself starts today. Let go of others' expectations, set your boundaries, and step into the life you were meant to live. This is your time to break free. Don't wait for permission, take it. Your happiness is yours to create. Take action now. Start small. Begin setting boundaries, validating yourself, and embracing your true self. Every step forward is progress. Remember, your time is now. You've been waiting for this moment, and it's here. Step into your power and make your life one that fills you up, not drains you. You deserve it. Are you tired of feeling drained, constantly running on empty to make others happy? Do you find yourself putting everyone else's needs before your own, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and exhausted? It's time to take control. Today I'm going to show you how to stop seeking approval from others and start prioritizing your own happiness and well-being. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is the first step toward real, lasting change. By the end of this talk, you'll have the tools to stop living for others and start living for yourself. The time for change is now. If you've been stuck in the endless cycle of people-pleasing, let today be your turning point. You've been running on empty, trying to make everyone else happy while your own needs get ignored. But what happens when you're constantly seeking approval from others? It's like pouring water into a cup that never fills. The more you give, the emptier you feel. It's an exhausting, draining cycle. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, how often do you sacrifice your own well-being to make someone else happy? Does it leave you feeling exhausted and unfulfilled? Every time you try to make someone else happy, you lose a little piece of yourself. You give up your energy, your time, and most of all, your sense of self. It's not worth it. When you're always trying to please others, you lose sight of who you really are. Your personality, your dreams, your desires, they all get shaped by what others expect from you. You start to forget who you are when you're not trying to live up to their standards. Who are you when the world stops talking? Can you still recognize yourself without the approval of others? The truth is, when you live for someone else's approval, you slowly start to disappear. You become someone else's version of you. It's time to stop. It's time to reclaim yourself. At the core of people-pleasing is a deep fear of rejection. The fear of not being liked, not being good enough, or being seen as selfish. But let me tell you something, this fear is exactly what keeps you small. It keeps you trapped in a life where you're always chasing after approval, always seeking validation, and never stepping into your full power. You cannot live your life based on fear. Fear will always keep you small. It will keep you from living the life you were meant to live. But it's time to break free. It's time to stop living in fear and start living in your power. True power comes from within. When you stop seeking validation from others and start recognizing your own worth, you create a foundation for lasting confidence and peace. The moment you validate yourself, nothing and no one can take away your sense of self-worth. No approval from others, no praise, no recognition. can compare to the confidence that comes from within. You hold the key to your own happiness. You hold the key to your own power. It's all within you. Living authentically is the key to freedom. When you let go of trying to be everything to everyone, you free yourself to be exactly who you are without apology. What would it feel like to live without pretending to be someone you're not? To stop wearing the mask, to stop playing the role, and to just be yourself, unapologetically. That's freedom. That's real living. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's the act of protecting your time, your energy, and your inner peace. If you don't set your boundaries, others will set them for you, and it won't always be in your best interest. Boundaries protect your well-being. They allow you to live the life that you choose, not the life that others push on you. The first step to breaking free is awareness. What are the situations, habits, and mindsets that make you seek others' approval at the expense of your own happiness? What are you doing right now to please others, and how is it affecting your own well-being? Identifying these patterns is key to breaking the cycle. Only when you realize that you're stuck in a people-pleasing trap can you start to make the changes needed to break free. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's not about being rude or uncaring, it's about protecting your energy and your peace. Think of saying no as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Saying no is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It's a way of taking control of your life and your time. Your self-worth must come from within. When you validate your own worth, you no longer need others to do it for you. It starts with small, simple actions. Each day, make a list of things you appreciate about yourself. This simple habit will help shift your focus from external validation to internal confidence. When you recognize your own value, you no longer need anyone else to confirm it. You know who you are. You know your worth. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply part of the journey to success and personal growth. Rejection is feedback, not failure. Let me tell you something. Rejection is just a detour, never a dead end. It's a stepping stone. The more you face rejection, the stronger you become. Rejection is like lifting weights. At first it might be tough, but the more you face it, the stronger you get. Each rejection is a lesson. Each rejection is an opportunity to grow. Stop letting fear control you. Fear will keep you small unless you choose to face it. Instead of letting fear stop you, use it as fuel to take action and push forward. Fear doesn't have to hold you back. It can be the very thing that drives you to go further. The more you face it, the less power it has over you. Use fear as the fire that propels you toward your next breakthrough. When you live for yourself, you stop measuring your success by others' expectations. You start making choices that honor your own happiness and growth. What would your life look like if you lived for your own dreams and not someone else's? It's time to stop living for others and start living for yourself. When you embrace who you truly are, you step into your greatest power. Authenticity is the most liberating gift you can give yourself. Think of yourself as a seed. You've been waiting for the right conditions to grow. Now is the time to bloom. Living authentically not only transforms your life, it inspires those around you. Authenticity is contagious. Your courage to live true to yourself empowers others to do the same. The more you live in alignment with your true self, the more the world will respond positively to you. You've heard the truth. People-pleasing is a trap. The choice to stop living for others and start living for yourself starts now. Let go of others' expectations, reclaim your power, and step into a life that's authentically yours. Start today. Begin with small actions, setting boundaries, saying no, and validating yourself. The journey to true freedom starts with one step forward. Your time is now. How often have you sacrificed your own happiness to please others? Think about it. Every time you try to make someone else happy at the expense of your own peace, you are draining yourself. And the worst part? It never feels like enough. You give and give, but your own cup is empty. Today, we are going to change that. Today, you're going to stop living for others and start living for yourself. This is not just another motivational talk. I'm giving you practical tools and a mindset shift that will allow you to break free from the chains of people-pleasing and reclaim your life and self-worth. It's time to step into your power. If you've been caught in this endless cycle, today marks your turning point. Stay with me, and by the end of this talk, you'll have everything you need to live your truth. Every time you put someone else's needs first, you're draining your own energy. You're filling other people's cups, but you never stop to refill your own. How does that make you feel? Exhausted, right? Running on fumes, but still trying to meet everyone's expectations. The truth is, you can't give from an empty cup. When you're constantly putting yourself last, you're sacrificing your own well-being for the comfort of others. And in the long run, that takes a toll on your health, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Think about it. How often do you make others happy only to find that you feel drained, unappreciated, or resentful afterward? You give and give, but when was the last time you stopped and asked, "What about me?" You can't pour from an empty cup. If you keep going like this, one day you will hit a wall. It's time to stop. It's time to realize that you matter too. Every time you adjust your behavior to fit someone else's expectations, you lose a little piece of who you really are. You start wearing a mask, one that makes you seem happy, successful, or good enough for the world. But behind that mask, who are you really? When was the last time you made a decision purely for yourself, not to please anyone else? The more you people please, the further you get from your true self. You begin to act in ways that don't align with your own values, desires, or needs. You start to question, who am I without the approval of others? And that's a scary place to be. But here's the thing, you are not meant to live for anyone else. You were born to be authentic, to be you, in all your unique glory. The longer you stay in this cycle of pretending, the more you lose sight of who you really are. Let's talk about fear for a moment. The fear of rejection, the fear of being judged, the fear of being seen as selfish or unworthy. This fear is the silent driver behind your people-pleasing. And guess what? It's keeping you stuck. You're terrified of saying no because you think people will reject you, or worse, think you don't care. But let me tell you something. This fear doesn't protect you. It controls you. Fear keeps you small. Fear keeps you in a box. It tells you that you must please everyone else to be worthy of love and acceptance. But the truth is, the more you let fear run your life, the more you lose yourself. You have to break free. You cannot live your life based on fear. It will only hold you back. The power to change, to reclaim your life, starts when you let go of that fear. You are not meant to live in a prison of other people's expectations. Break free. Take control. We all want to be seen, heard, and appreciated. But here's the problem. Seeking validation from others is like chasing a mirage. The more you try to fill the void with other people's approval, the emptier you feel. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much you pour in, it will never stay full. The constant need for validation is never ending. You do things for others in the hope that they will recognize and validate your worth, but it never truly satisfies. Think about the last time you did something for someone else. Did their appreciation make you feel truly fulfilled? Or did you find yourself wanting more? The truth is, external approval is like a temporary fix for a deep, unfulfilled need. You will always be looking for more, but it won't ever fill you up. The only way to truly feel validated is to validate yourself. When you rely on others for validation, you're building your life on a shaky foundation. External validation is fragile. It can change in an instant, and when it does, you're left with nothing. Your worth cannot depend on someone else's opinion of you. It's like trying to build a house on sand. No matter how hard you try, it won't stand. True strength comes from within. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, you create a solid foundation for your life. You stop building on shifting sands and start building on your own inner strength and confidence. The more you shift who you are to please others, the more you lose yourself in the process. Every time you change your behavior to fit someone else's expectations, you're sacrificing a little piece of your own peace and happiness. Eventually, you'll find yourself exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from who you really are. Think about it. How often do you change who you are just to fit in? What's the long-term effect on your happiness? You'll never find fulfillment by living for someone else. The longer you stay trapped in this cycle, the more you disconnect from the authentic, powerful person you were meant to be. Before you can truly break free, you have to understand why you seek approval in the first place. Often it comes from a place of fear of rejection, fear of judgment, or insecurity. These fears may have started long ago, in childhood or past relationships, and have continued to drive your actions. But here's the thing, identifying the source is the first step in breaking free. You can't change what you don't understand. What are the underlying fears that drive your need for validation? What are you afraid of? The more you understand where this need comes from, the more you can begin to heal and break the cycle. Self-worth cannot come from the outside. It must come from within. When you start validating yourself, recognizing your own value, your own worth, you stop relying on others to do it for you. You no longer need to seek approval because you know who you are and what you stand for. The moment you learn to validate yourself, you stop seeking external approval. You stand firm in your own power, and that's when everything changes. Setting boundaries is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. When you stop letting others dictate your time, your energy, and your emotions, you take back control of your life. Boundaries are not walls, they are bridges to a healthier, more authentic you. They are the key to protecting your peace and reclaiming your power. Without boundaries, others will set them for you, and it won't always be in your best interest. Learn to set clear boundaries and protect your time, your energy, and your peace. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply part of the process. Every no brings you closer to the right, Yes, rejection is not your enemy. It's a tool. It's a stepping stone. Every time you face rejection, you get closer to your true path. Rejection is just feedback, not failure. Every no is one step closer to the right yes. Instead of fearing rejection, use it as fuel. Every time you face rejection, you grow stronger. Rejection is not something to be avoided. It's an opportunity to build resilience, to build character. Think of rejection as the weight in the gym. It's uncomfortable, but it builds your strength over time. Resilience doesn't come from comfort, it comes from challenges. Embrace rejection as part of the journey and let it propel you forward. Fear of rejection paralyzes so many people. But if you want to live a life of freedom, you have to choose to move forward despite the fear. Stop letting fear control you. Live with the knowledge that every no brings you closer to your true path. Fear is not a reason to stop. Fear is a reason to keep going. When you stop living in fear of rejection, you unlock your true potential. Don't let fear hold you back. Use it to fuel your progress. Authenticity is power. When you stop pretending to be someone you're not, you tap into a deeper level of fulfillment. There is no greater freedom than being yourself without apology. What would your life look like if you stopped pretending to be someone else? What would it feel like to live authentically? To walk in your own truth every single day? That's where true fulfillment lies. Stop letting others define you. You are the only one who gets to decide who you are. Define yourself by your values, your passions, and your purpose. Stop trying to live up to others' expectations and start living according to your own. The only expectation you need to meet is your own. Define your path and walk it with confidence. When you choose authenticity, you change more than just your own life. You inspire those around you to live authentically as well. You become the spark that lights others' paths. Living authentically is like lighting a candle in the dark. It creates a ripple of light that others can follow. Your courage to live true to yourself can inspire others to do the same. The time is now. Stop living for others and start living for yourself. Reclaim your power, embrace your authenticity, and step into the life you've always dreamed of. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The time for change is right now. Take the first step today. When you stop seeking approval from others, you create the freedom to live fully for yourself. This is your life. Take ownership of it. Live it the way you were always meant to. The freedom to live authentically is yours to claim starting today. Have you ever found yourself bending over backward just to make others happy? Do you constantly sacrifice your own needs to avoid conflict or rejection? It's a trap, isn't it? A never-ending cycle of seeking approval, hoping for validation, and trying to fit into someone else's mold. But what if I told you that the moment you stop trying to please everyone else, that's when your true life begins? Today we're going to break free from the chains of people-pleasing. I'm not here to just offer empty motivation. I'm here to show you the path toward reclaiming your life and your confidence. No more waiting for someone else to give you permission to live authentically. This is your time to take control, to finally start living for yourself. Stick with me, because what you'll learn today can transform your mindset and your life forever. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. Self-validation isn't about arrogance, it's about trusting and believing in who you are regardless of what others think. When you stop relying on external validation, you stop handing over control of your emotions to other people. You are in charge. The truth is, you've always been enough, just as you are. Your worth is not determined by others' opinions. Your worth is inherent. It's built on your beliefs, your values, and your actions. When you validate yourself, you build real confidence, the kind that comes from within and isn't shaken by the shifting opinions of others. Living authentically is the key to real freedom. Imagine waking up every day knowing that you're not pretending to be someone you're not. That's what happens when you stop pleasing others. You unlock the freedom to live on your own terms. You're no longer wearing a mask to fit in. You embrace who you truly are unapologetically. When you stop living for others, you can live for yourself. And let me tell you something, there's nothing more liberating than that. Imagine being a bird who's been kept in a cage for years. The door opens and you're free to soar. No more limits, no more pretending, just pure freedom to be exactly who you were meant to be. But here's the real secret to sustaining that freedom. Setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they're tools to protect your peace. They're the invisible lines you draw in the sand to safeguard your time, your energy, and your emotions. When you say no without guilt, you take back control of your life. You stop letting others dictate your decisions and start making choices that serve your well-being. Think about it for a second. What would it feel like to say no without guilt? Imagine how powerful it would be to choose your own path, to say yes to the things that matter to you, and to walk away from the things that drain you. That's the power of boundaries. When you establish them, you create space for self-care, growth, and true happiness. So how do we start? First, stop looking outside for validation. Start with yourself. You are enough, you are worthy, and the only approval you need is your own. Then, embrace your authenticity. Stop pretending to be someone you're not, and let the real you shine through. Finally, set boundaries. Protect your time, protect your peace, and protect your energy. When you take these steps, you stop pleasing others and start pleasing yourself. And that, my friend, is when you begin to live a life that's truly fulfilling. You no longer live for the approval of others. You live for you, and that's the most powerful life you can live. Have you ever found yourself saying yes when you really wanted to say no, or making choices that please everyone but leave you feeling drained and unfulfilled? You're not alone. Many of us have fallen into the trap of seeking approval, thinking that by pleasing others, we'll find happiness and acceptance. But let me tell you something, true fulfillment doesn't come from seeking the approval of others. It comes from pleasing yourself. It's time to stop living for someone else's version of your life and start living for your own. Today I'm going to show you the steps to break free from this cycle. I'll guide you through practical actions and mindset shifts that will help you stop pleasing others and start prioritizing your own needs and desires. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. So let's dive in and start the journey toward reclaiming your life and your power. The first step to breaking free from people pleasing is recognizing when you're doing it. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of seeking approval, especially when we're conditioned to put others first. Start by asking yourself, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for them? Think about situations where you've compromised your own needs just to make someone else happy. Whether it's staying late at work because someone asked, or agreeing to plans you didn't want to attend, those moments are clues that you might be pleasing others instead of yourself. Write down instances where you've put others' needs ahead of your own. Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you recognize the patterns, you'll be better equipped to make different choices moving forward. Now that you've recognized the habits, the next step is learning to say no. Saying no is a skill, one that you can master with practice. It's not about being rude or dismissive. It's about being honest and setting boundaries. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. In fact, it makes you self-respecting. You have the right to protect your time and energy. Think about it, when you say yes to everything, you stretch yourself thin and deplete your resources. But when you learn to say no, you create space for the things that truly matter to you. So say it with confidence, without explanation, without guilt. You have the power to choose where you invest your time, and that's a powerful thing. Next, let's talk about building self-worth from within. True self-worth doesn't come from external validation. It comes from you. It's about recognizing your own value, not waiting for someone else to tell you you're enough. You are enough. When you stop seeking validation from others, you'll begin to trust yourself more deeply. Start by acknowledging your own achievements every single day. It doesn't matter how small they seem, celebrate them. This simple practice will reinforce your self-worth and shift your focus away from needing approval. The more you affirm your own value, the less you'll rely on others to define your worth. Part of this journey is also about practicing self-compassion. For years, you've been conditioned to put others ahead of yourself. But now it's time to shift that focus. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness, love, and respect that you give others. It's not about being selfish. It's about taking care of yourself so you can show up as the best version of yourself for others. You deserve love, respect, and care just as much as anyone else. Start with this simple affirmation every day. I am worthy of love, respect, and care. Repeat it. Believe it. Let that be the foundation of your journey. Perfectionism is another sneaky form of people-pleasing. Many times we try to meet impossible standards, whether set by others or ourselves, because we think it will earn us approval. But perfectionism only holds you back. It's a trap. The truth is, nobody is perfect, and neither are you. When you let go of the need for everything to be perfect, you give yourself permission to be human. You give yourself the freedom to grow, to stumble, and to learn without fear of judgment. How many times have you failed because you were too afraid to fall short of perfection? Let go of that burden. Embrace your imperfections. They're what make you unique, and they're part of the journey toward becoming your true self. By recognizing your people-pleasing habits, learning to say no, building self-worth from within, practicing self-compassion, and letting go of perfectionism, you can stop pleasing others and start pleasing yourself. This journey is not about being selfish. It's about being self-respecting. It's about knowing that you are enough, just as you are. The more you embrace these steps, the more you will unlock the freedom to live authentically and unapologetically. And that, my friend, is where true fulfillment lies. Have you ever been paralyzed by the fear of rejection? That gut-wrenching feeling when you put yourself out there, only to face the sting of someone saying no. It's natural to feel that way. But here's the truth. Rejection is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Rejection is a sign that you're challenging yourself, taking risks and growing. You can't avoid rejection and expect to grow. Today, I'm going to show you how to reframe rejection, turn it into a powerful tool, and use it as a stepping stone toward becoming the person you're meant to be. You can break free from the fear that's holding you back, and on the other side, you'll find strength, resilience, and the courage to keep pushing forward. Let's start by understanding what rejection really is. Yes, it stings. Yes, it hurts. But rejection is not the end of the world. In fact, it can be one of the greatest tools for personal growth. When we fear rejection, we limit ourselves from taking the risks necessary for growth. You see, if you're never rejected, you're never challenging yourself. If you never hear no, then you're not taking the steps that push you outside of your comfort zone. Rejection is proof that you're stepping up, that you're putting yourself out there, that you're doing something that matters. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something to embrace. The key is reframing rejection. It's so easy to internalize rejection and think, there's something wrong with me. But let me tell you, rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply a sign that you're not meant to please everyone. And thank God for that. When we stop trying to make everyone happy, we start living authentically. Rejection is a necessary part of breaking free from the chains of external validation. It's not the world telling you that you're not enough. It's the world telling you that you're moving in the right direction, toward people and opportunities that will truly align with who you are. Think of rejection as a door closing. It may feel painful at first, but it's actually pushing you toward the right path, one that is true to you. Every no is a redirection to something better.